I would like to begin this part 3 of Thought for Food by saying that in laying a basis and a groundwork for what a person believes, it's very important to understand and appreciate why they believe what they believe. My Christian experience is experiential. And when I say that because my Christian experience is not based on religion. My Christian experience is not based on church. I was a member for many years. I've attended many different churches because I wanted to know what they believed. And I have been a member of a church, but I am not a member of a church now. And I don't know that I ever intend to be again. That's open. But at the same time, I say that because I want to be able to relate to people who have been Christians and are no longer Christians. And yet at the same time, I am not directed by the Holy Spirit to minister to anyone who has not, in whose life the Holy Spirit is not already working. I refuse to force my religion upon anyone, to impress anyone with my thoughts as though my thoughts are better than theirs or more correct, because from everyone's perspective their thoughts are correct. It depends on the perspective. The wider a perspective we develop, the more readily we're going to be able to communicate with others. And when I say communicate with others, I'm talking about listening to them and speaking also. More listening than speaking. I'm going to share something else about myself. I'm going to be sharing a number of things about myself. This is not a life story of Phil, but at the same time, I feel that within each experience that I've had, there is some value in terms of being a Christian and the development of a Christian experience. I have been a prison minister for 25 years. I began in 83, and I have a picture of myself taken, and we had to have a card made to get inside of the facilities, and I got that in 1984, and so I have been a prison minister for 25 years. I have led out in a Christian counseling group for 16 years, every Friday night. I've missed 11 in 16 years. That is not me. This is what I've done, but this is not me. Because it is God who works in me, both to will and to do of His good pleasure. It is God going to visit with these men and women and to impress upon them the love of Christ. My wife and I also for about 15 years were parole sponsors for the state of Nebraska. And in doing that, we paroled many men out to us. Many men were paroled out to us by the state, and they lived with us, some of them for a year and a half, 2 years, some of them for a few months. And when people lived with us in our home, we had 3 rules. And those 3 rules were stringent rules, but they were the only 3. 1, no alcohol. 2, no drugs. 3, no illicit sex. If you go to a motel somewhere and have sex with somebody, that's fine. That's on you. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to find out about it. I don't want to know about it. Because those 3 things, I believe, are the cause of the downfall of many people. can eliminate those from their lives. And I'm talking about overindulgence to a large degree. I believe in temperance, which means balance. And I'm not saying that it's okay to have sex with people you're not married to every now and then. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is some people cannot control their sexual urges, and therefore every now and then they need it. Well, if they can even control it to a degree, they're making some progress. One of the very basic principles in my life that I have taught through all these years is a little forward progress every day in each area of your lives. For some people, there's only one or two areas of their life. Working and socializing. That's it. Somewhere they got to work, sleep in, and so on, but very limited realms of their life, number of realms. My life has 5 or 6 realms, and every day I try to make some forward progress in each of those realms. If we make a little forward progress, if we just determine that we're going to make a little forward progress every day, sometimes we make great progress in a short period of time. But if we don't determine that we're going to make a little forward progress each day, then we may go nowhere. And so this is the principle that I've always taught. But more to the point, all these men and women who lived in our home, not one of them did I force Christianity upon. Not one of them did I force my beliefs upon. At no time. Thank God that by that time in my Christian experience I had learned that that's the Christian way. And because of that, many of them were willing to listen, because they knew that it wasn't going to be forced on them, and anytime they got enough, they'd just say, shut up, and I would shut up. I am only called to speak to those in whom the Spirit is already working, and yet Christians take it upon themselves so often to try to convince other people of their perspective and their view, and even go to the point where they say, you're going to rot in hell if you don't. That's not Christian. Christianity is a spirit, a spiritual guidance, a quickening. That's a good study. That's a good study in the Bible. Quicken, quickeneth, quickened, and quickening. I'm doing a study on it now. I have 2 more parts to do, and I'm going to release it on my website. I'm very adamant about the fact that many Christians speak out of place, out of time, and to people they're not even called to speak to, because of the desire in them, and I don't fault that desire. When a person comes to Christ, no sooner does a person come to Christ than they're compelled to share what a friend they have found in Jesus, and I say go for it, but in the Spirit of Christ. There is no other way that we could ever hope to win people to Christ. We're not supposed to try to win people to ourselves. We're supposed to win people to Christ. And the way to win people to Christ is to not force Him on them. Christ never forced Himself on anyone. He spoke blatant truth. But never was it intended for those upon whom the Spirit was not already working. And so this principle is what I would like to share in this video. Christ cannot be forced upon anyone. He can only be drawn. We can only draw people to Christ. If I be lifted up, will draw all men unto myself. Our whole duty in sharing the gospel with the whole wide world is to lift up Jesus Christ and Him crucified, in whose name I pray. God bless you.